Hey guys, it's me Chandler. Welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys all about the books that I read in November. I read 8 books in November. 7 of them I have with me, and then 1 was an audiobook, so I don't have it with me physically, but I did also read that one. But I'm just gonna go through the books I read and tell you my thoughts on them, and yeah, let's just get straight into it. Hello. These right here are the books I read this month, so let me go through them. The first book is a book I started in October, but I finished in November, and it was also the longest book that I read, and that is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. And this is the second book in the ACOTAR series, or the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. And as you can see, I tabbed this book a ton, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I really like Sarah J. Maas's book. I'm actually hoping to at least start her other 2 series she has in the new year. I have a whole video coming up on books I want to read in the new year, so stay tuned for that. I can't really give you a synopsis on this book without spoiling the first book in the series, but I did really enjoy this book. I read it a little bit slower than I normally read books, but I really just wanted to digest all of it. I had a really good experience reading it slowly. What's kind of funny to me though is I do this a lot with bigger books. I very slowly read like the first 200 pages, like 600 pages, 700. Within like 2 days, I read like the last chunk of it. I don't know why I always end up doing that, but that is what I did with this book. This book is definitely a new favorite. I definitely understand why people say this is the best one in the series, but I also am currently reading the 3rd book in the series, and I'm so excited to get more into that and read the rest of it. And I just overall really enjoyed this series. I didn't even say this, but it's a fantasy series, and it's actually the first fantasy series I have read in like a long time. Really enjoyed A Court of Mist and Fury. I'm gonna make a pile right here for the books I talked about. The second book I read was a very anticipated read, and that was It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover, which is the sequel to It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. And I gave this book 3.75 stars. It didn't quite meet my expectations for it, but I did enjoy it because a 3.75 stars, you know, almost a 4 stars. It was a good book and I would recommend it. But to me, I know everyone's kind of saying this, but I definitely agree that it almost just felt like an extended epilogue of the first book. I did film a reading vlog for this book, but I ended up deleting the footage because I really just didn't like how it came out. Hopefully you all weren't like waiting for that, because it is not going to be coming, but I have so many videos planned for this December and I cannot wait to show you guys them all. It follows Lily and Atlas, and it actually picks up right after the events of the first book, and I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I feel like there wasn't really a lot going on in the book, which is obviously okay sometimes, but I don't know. I really just didn't connect with this book as much as I thought I was going to, but I did still enjoy it nonetheless. The next book I read was If We Were Villains by ML Rio, and this is a dark academia book, and I gave this book 5 stars. I did not think I was going to enjoy this book as much as I did, and even though this wasn't a long one, I did what I said I did with A Court of Mist and Fury. I read the first, I would say 100 pages really slow, like it took a week for that, and then I sat down and then in one day finished the rest of the book, and it was so good. It happens in a then and now timeline. You're mostly in the then timeline. The now timeline is this guy who is in jail at the moment, and he's kind of telling a story of how he ended up there. The then is about 7 theater students who are really into Shakespearean plays and kind of how they slowly descend into madness. And this book reminded me a lot of The Secret History by Donna Tartt, and I also enjoyed that one, so that makes sense that I enjoyed this one. I really liked the writing style, and I also think it did intrigue me a lot more than it would intrigue most people, because I am really into theater. Not so much Shakespeare, but we are reading Macbeth in my English class right now, and we read Romeo and Juliet last year, so I do know a bit about Shakespeare, though not nearly as much as these people do. But I really just enjoyed all of the characters. I thought they were all very fleshed out. They all had very distinct personalities, and overall I would just really recommend this book for cozy dark academia vibes. The next book I read was November 9th by Colleen Hoover, and I gave this book 4 stars, and I actually have been waiting to read this book on November 9th. And I was kind of scared I wasn't going to be able to finish it because November 9th happened to fall on a school day, but I woke up a little earlier than usual and started reading it. I read it all day at school, and then I read it after school, and I was able to finish it in one day. I really enjoyed this book. Not my favorite of hers, but I still really would recommend it nonetheless. It follows it follows Balin.
Hello?
It follows Fallon and Ben. Fallon was in a fire as a kid, and she has like burns all over her and stuff like that, so she's still trying to really heal with her past and trauma of all that stuff happening when she meets Ben, and it is their love story, but throughout the whole time of the book, Ben is hiding something and Fallon can sense it. And when his secret comes out, guys, when I tell you, like, my jaw was like on the floor. The plot twist to this book is absolutely insane. I don't necessarily know if after that I ship them. They just kind of gave me weird vibes. But I did really find the book entertaining, and as I said, I read it one day, so I sped through it, and I would recommend this one. The next book I read was the audiobook, and that was Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q Sutanto. I'm probably saying that really wrong, I'm sorry if I am. But I give this book 4 stars. I really liked it. It is I would call it like a mystery rom-com. It's really entertaining, and it's nothing like I've ever read before. It follows this girl who goes on a blind date and she ends up killing her blind date, but it's not a murder where it's like suspenseful and like dark and stuff like that. Like, it's very lighthearted. I don't know how a murder even can be, but it is in this book. And her aunts try to help her like hide the body and stuff like that. The guy that she killed is the owner of the hotel that they are working at tomorrow because they plan weddings. So they have to go to his literal hotel tomorrow to plan this wedding, but the guy isn't even there, he's dead. So they have to basically try to hide this body and all these things. There is an additional romance in it, and I really liked it. I thought it was so funny. Her aunts are absolutely hilarious. I would be so embarrassed to have them as my aunts, and I'm glad they're not. But I really enjoyed this book. I would love to read more books like this, so if you guys have any recommendations for books that are similar to Dial A for Aunties, then let me know. The next book I read was another anticipated read, and that is The American Room Experiment by Elena Armas. This is a companion novel to The Spanish Love Deception, which I read, I think I read it at the beginning of this year, but I gave this book 3 stars. It definitely was not my fave. I would say it was overall kind of mediocre. I found it to be very, very slow at times and just not like super enjoyable, I guess. There were parts of it I enjoyed, but overall I just didn't really like this book. And now that I'm thinking of it, I probably should give it a lower rating, like a 2 stars. I probably will be giving this book away. I wouldn't really recommend it. I didn't really love either of the main characters, but I definitely recommend The Spanish Love Deception. This one, not so much. It is about the best friend from the main girl in The Spanish Love Deception and the main girl in The Spanish Love Deception, her cousin. It's their romance, and it is forced proximity because they both have to be staying in the same apartment. It was fine. It was okay. The next book is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, and I actually read this partially as an audiobook and partially in the physical book form. I gave this book 3 stars, but now that I'm thinking about it, I also think the rating should be changed. I found it more to be a 3.5 star type of book, I feel like. But I did enjoy it. It was good. The big plot twist I found kind of underwhelming, but overall I did enjoy the premise of this book. I just think it could have been executed a lot better, but I did have a good time reading it, so I think that is a win. I actually had never heard of this book before, and I found it at Goodwill, and I am definitely glad I picked it up because it entertained me for a little bit. But yeah, I don't really have much to say about this book, so that's that. The next and final book that I've read this month, which I actually finished yesterday because today's December 1st, so I finished it just in time, and that was Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I loved this book. This book is a romance, but it's not like a cute, fluffy romance. It is very toxic and very not to be romanticized, I guess. Never think people treating each other like this and talking to each other like this is okay. However, it was really entertaining to read. I've never seen Gossip Girl, but it has been compared to Gossip Girl, kind of just like a bunch of rich people drama that you're reading about, and I just found it entertaining. I really had a great time reading it. I kind of like our main characters. I'm not quite sure because of some of their behaviors. I'm like, whoa there. But deep down, I do think they are both good people. There's also so many characters in this book. Like, I literally had to draw like a family tree that I found online on a sticky note in the front of the book so I would understand who was who, because there are a lot of characters in this, which would be my only critique for it, but I just had the best time reading this. And this is actually Jessica Hastings' debut novel, which that is so incredible that her debut novel got this much hype. I'm so happy for her. And there are 2 more books in this series that are out right now. There's Daisy Hates, which follows a different couple, and then there is Magnolia Park's Long Way Home. And I think there's supposed to be even more books in the future, so the series is not finished, but I do want to read more of the series, definitely in the new year. I don't have the other books yet. I'm trying to kind of read the books I have right now before I start new books. I would definitely recommend it. Check the trigger warnings before you read it though, because I feel like it could have some triggering subjects in it. But overall, I just had a blast reading this book. I'm definitely not romanticizing this type of relationship, but I can't deny that it was very fun to read about. Also, if you hear random like snoring or grunting noises, it's because my dog is on the couch over there out of the camera. So these are the books that I read in November, plus Dial A for Aunties. And I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I have so many fun videos planned for this December, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of them. I'm not doing Vlogmas necessarily, but I'm going to be posting as much as I possibly can and trying to really pump out videos for you guys. So I really would appreciate it if you subscribed so we could maybe even hit 1K by the end of the year. I don't know, that's kind of a push, but it would be amazing if that could happen. Even if it doesn't, I still love you guys. Hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye.